Now, some tags that we do are just easier than others. This one was pretty tricky, and here's why. Hello, and the warmest of welcomes to today's video. For those of you who haven't seen my face before, hi, I'm Nick, fab to have you here. For those who have seen my face before, thank you so much for joining me again. I hope you're enjoying my videos. I put out videos roughly 3 times a week on a range of different topics, anywhere from fashion to slightly more personal topics. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then please do head down, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. I love chatting with you all. I'm all about living life loud, and what that means to me is being your authentic self, being proud to be you, and just celebrating who you are. Celebrating yourself, and of course, celebrating others. So, before I get into the topic of today's video, the second part of my collaboration with the fantastic Dayle's Addiction has gone live on Dayle's channel by the time I have posted this. Please do go and check it out. Please go and support the collab. We really hope you enjoy. We had so much fun filming it. The segments are fairly long, but you know, we felt that it was a really fun conversation, hopefully one that everyone enjoys. So please go and check it out. Go and support Dayle's channel if you haven't done so already. And of course, part 1 is on mine. And if you haven't seen it yet, or you've been looking at getting round to it, please go and do so. Just quickly as well, bag of the day. It's one that I said I didn't use very much. It featured in my bags that barely left the house last year. My Kurt Geiger double XL flap in the denim. Easy, practical, carefree. Love it. It felt chic, pulled together, but still very practical. It's a great piece, and it's one that gets a lot of compliments. I actually went into the Kurt Geiger store today with it, and I got the, oh wow, I haven't seen one of those for a while. It's a bit of an older piece, but it's a really, really great bag. And as someone who's not necessarily a lover of gold hardware, I think that this mixed with this blue is really quite stunning, isn't it? So there's that. Anyway, the topic of today's video. So, I was tagged by the lovely Mary from the channel Lumi Level Up, and she was tagged by who I believe was the creator of this tag, Paula, from the channel With a Touch of Luxury. And basically what we are discussing is 5 brands that we have never owned a designer bag from, and then therefore the 5 brands that we would never have an interest in owning a designer bag from. So you can't have owned a bag from it, and you don't want to own a bag from it. This is hard, and the reason this is tough is because I am someone who likes to explore new brands. I like to try new products. I like to expand my horizons, and yes, I do have some staple brands. Longchamp is a staple brand of mine, Kurt Geiger, Mulberry, Aspinall of London. They are staples within my bag collection, but I do also have Celine, Nicholas Kirkwood, Louis Vuitton. What else have I got? MCM. Osprey London. That's probably a staple. But so I've got a few others as well. Karl Lagerfeld is another one as well. So I do try different brands, and I'm open to trying new brands. I'm open to trying Versace and Gucci. Spoiler alert, they don't feature on this list. So let's get into it. Number 1. Putting everything that has transpired in recent weeks and months aside, this was a brand I never had an interest in, Balenciaga. I've never been interested in Balenciaga. It's just not my style. I can appreciate it on other people. I have never wanted to own one. I have never wanted to, buy one pre-loved or outlet or new in boutique. To be honest, I just can't see how I would use it. There's an edginess to it that I don't think is particularly my style. Granted, I have seen some beautiful colours come from Balenciaga and some beautiful prints come from Balenciaga. But beyond that, the style of the items is of no interest to me. And in all honesty, some of them I think are just downright awful. Absolutely awful. The bag that was meant to look like a pair of boots, and it's hideous. It's one of the lacquer goules. The lacquer goule, I think, is absolutely horrendous as well, which I know is a popular kind of influencer bag. It's terrible, downright terrible. Comes in some nice variations in terms of the prints and the textures, etc. But why they couldn't have done it on a different bag, they've just done some really awful pieces, and I've had very little interest in it as a brand from day dot, and I have even less interest in it now. The only thing that was ever fairly interesting to me was the Hacker project, but actually I was more interested in it from a Gucci perspective than I was from a Balenciaga perspective. And actually, as collabs went, I was far more captivated by Versace and Fendi than, or people, they're not collabs, are they? The Hacker project wasn't a collab. There's terminology, I can't remember what people say it is, but anyway, I see them as one and the same, so, you know. There we are, Balenciaga. A popular one here that I have done a video on why I don't buy from here, and it is Coach. And the reason being, I think it's a bit of a snooze fest, if I'm honest. They've never done a shape or a style or a pattern or a print that I've looked at and gone, wow. Do I like them on other people? Yes. Do I walk past them in stores and think that's a nice item? Yes. Have I ever felt a pull to go and buy one? No. No. The only thing I could ever see myself being remotely interested in would be the tabby, or the pillow tabby. And I've tried one of those on and it just didn't suit me. So even then I wasn't really looking to buy it. I was trying it on just to see because it's very popular, and I thought, yeah, maybe I'm missing something. The only other thing I could see myself going for would have been a field tote. But then I've got my Kurt Geiger tote bag, I've got my Mulberry tote bag, I've got my Karl Lagerfeld tote bag. Those to me are just a bit more fun. I've got leopard print, I've got the Karl Lagerfeld face on one of them. My Mulberry's a bit more kind of utility vibe, but it's camo. So, you know, they are just more my style, and therefore I can see myself going for them. There's nothing against Coach. Do go and check out that video if you're more interested in more in-depth. And I think in there I spoke about if I had to buy 5 Coach bags, which 5 would I buy? But for me, I just find their styles a little bit dull, and they never bring them out in variations that really speak to me or, you know, capture my heart. They don't tend to do a huge amount in bright colour, like very vibrant kind of highlighter sort of colours, etc. Very saturated tones. They've done, you know, bright yellow and stuff every now and then, but even then it wasn't on styles that I liked, so it wasn't enough to sway me. So there we are. That's where my head's at there. Now, one that unfortunately for me, the brand has been decimated by its diffusion line, and this is Michael Kors. Michael Kors has some very chic aspects to it. You know, Michael Kors kind of collection, it had some very chic designs. It has, for me, has been ruined by the diffusion brand. A diffusion brand can really make or break a brand, and for me, it's broken Michael Kors in terms of my perception of it. I have no interest in carrying a bag that has the MK monogram across it, none whatsoever. It's just not for me. It's not a brand that I've ever really aligned with, if I'm honest, for no reason other than the fact that I just remember seeing the very plasticky looking top handle bags and the MK monogram thrown across it, you know, other bags that had all of that, and I just remember being really switched off by them. We have a Michael Kors store where I live, and I actually walked past it earlier and I looked in the window and I thought, there's some interesting stuff in there, some nice colours, etc. And then I went up to the window and I saw the designs and I thought, okay, some of the colours are quite nice, but not on those bags. Also, I was in TK Maxx and I kept pulling out these puffer jackets because clearly I need another puffer jacket, 5 isn't enough. And they kept being Michael Kors puffer jackets. And I was like, what are you doing to me? I'm about to say in a video I wouldn't buy Michael Kors. Anyway, I didn't buy any of it. It wasn't, you know, captivating enough for me to go and swipe the card. But it was funny that was where my head was. It was one of those immediate brands that when Mary tagged me, I thought, oh, Michael Kors, no. Like I said, they do have some higher end aspects to them. It's just the diffusion line, for me, has done it zero favours in terms of perception. But I'm sure from a revenue perspective, I see a lot of the stuff. So I'm sure it's done some wonders for the brand financially, but I don't know. I'm not their accountant. A brand that has had a fair few it bags over the years, nothing that I've ever been interested in, nothing that has ever captivated me, and to be honest, I think there are better alternatives elsewhere. Chloe. Now, I have no doubt that the quality is lovely. I have no doubt that if you're looking for something that's understated, Chloe is a really good brand to go to. I see people carrying the woody totes and I always look at them and think, that's a nice bag. Then I realise how much they cost and I think, oh, buy an Aspinall of London Henley. Even the Chloe it bags over the years, something like the Chloe Paddington. Now, I know that's a very old bag, but I think it looked dated at the time. I think it looks very, very dated now. It was never a bag that I looked at and thought, wow. The Chloe Nile, I never fully understood. There's just been a lot of it bags from Chloe over the years that I've looked at and thought, why is that so popular? And it's not the fact that they're understated, because I can see why Celine have had so many it bags over the years. And I'm a big fan of Celine. So it's not about them being understated. I just think there are other alternatives, either for lesser money, if you look at brands like Aspinall, for example, or you can go to a brand like Celine, who I think does the same thing but better. So Chloe, for me, just never fully hits the mark. If someone said to me, Nick, you have a limited credit card at Chloe and you can go and buy one thing, I would probably buy a woody and I would try and buy it. I think they do it in the canvas in almost like a beige leather with a charcoal kind of stripe to it. I think they do. And that's what I would go for, but it wouldn't be my first choice of brand to go to. It would be pretty low down, really. Nice pieces, not for me. And finally, this one's a difficult one, and this doesn't fulfill the I will never buy, because I haven't bought from this brand. There's nothing at the moment that I'm looking at thinking, oh yes, I want to buy that, but I can see the aesthetic working for me, so I don't want to close that door. Not that we're closing the door on any of these, of course we can change our minds, but that's Givenchy. I like Givenchy. I like their bags. I like the Antigona. I like some of their top handle kind of shopper style bags. I think they do some great pieces. They do some beautiful colours. They've done some great textures over the years. I loved the Disney collab. I wasn't in a place to buy the Disney collab at that point. It was quite expensive, as Givenchy would be, but it was quite expensive. But I absolutely adored it. And that's why, whilst I haven't bought anything, and at the moment I'm a bit closed off to it, and it's not a site that I tend to look at that much. And if I'm looking at pre-loved, I very rarely look at Givenchy bags, because there's nothing in my mind that I'm thinking, what am I looking for? If I'm looking for Versace, I'm looking for the La Medusa bag, for example. If I'm looking at Mulberry, I'm looking for a Bayswater. Like, I have things in my mind for the other brands, and some of those brands that I've never bought from before, I have in my mind what I'm looking for from them if I were to. Dior, it's a large lady Dior. So this is one that I'm not saying never to, but at the moment I can't see it happening. And there were probably other brands that I could have put in there. Bottega is probably another one. There are certain items from Bottega I really love, but I've not seen them in a combination that I am really grabbed by at this point. Like, I love, for example, the chain cassette bag, chain padded cassette, and they've done that in some beautiful variations, but my ideal would be a hot pink with the chunky silver hardware. The pouch, I think it's beautiful, but the price point is exorbitant in my mind, and I could never justify it. So there are a few brands that probably fit within that. So I would say I've got 4 that I'm very firm in the thought that I will never own a piece from them. And you're welcome to tell me I'm wrong or that you think I will. But Givenchy is at the moment a no, but I'm very open to it being on the yes pile going forward. So there we have it, everyone. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with some of the brands that I've chosen? Is there anybody that's glaringly missing from this list that you think, Nick, you should have included them? I'm going to put some lovely people up on the screen here who I tagged to do this. Thank you so much, Mary, for tagging me. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Take care, everyone. Bye now.